Hey everybody, what's up? You know, there's been a question a lot of people have had over the past several years, if not for many years, and that is why do people jack up the prices of stuff they shouldn't be jacking the price up of? Well, there's an old saying. If you own it, then you have a right to do whatever you want with it. If you want to sell it, fine. If you want to sell it at the regular price or lesser than what you bought, or at the same price that you bought it for or less, that's your option. Or if you want to sell it for a lot more than what you bought it for, or that's your option as well. Now you might say, well Brian, that sounds like if you want to sell it for a lot more than you bought it sounds like you're being a scalper. That is true. And here's the thing though about scalpers. They will only, how do I put this? I look at scalpers as the kind that will buy up they'll buy up the limited quantity of what you have in a store. Let's say with the NES Classics, you get 20 NES Classics in stock, right? And a whole bunch of people come out of nowhere and decide, together, that they want to buy 10 of your 20 NES Classics. And they all decide to work together to buy them. Why? And there's maybe only 5 of them. Why would they buy them? Real simple. Maybe 5 of them are going to take 5 of those NES Classics for themselves, which is good, they're helping each other out. Or 2, they're doing that, but they'll also take, or 2, they want to sell all 10 of them at a lot higher prices than they're being advertised for. And to me, that's what a scalper is. You're buying up the limited quantity a store has, or a majority of it, to either maybe keep some for yourself and for some friends and family. That's cool. But on the other hand, but also you want to sell the other maybe 5 that you have for a lot more than they're priced for. And that's wrong. That is totally wrong. Because you're basically depriving folks, families, nostalgic people of an NES Classic who don't have the money to buy something like, let's say nowadays, a Switch or a PS4 Pro or whatever. You're depriving them of the only affordable option they have. You're depriving them of that, and you basically telling them, hey, you want this? Hey, no problem, we'll sell it to you. We'll just sell it to you for about, I don't know, $200 more. And it's like, that's stupid, that's pathetic. Now, here's the thing. Consoles nowadays will come in quantities, limited quantities. And sometimes the limited quantities will last for a limited time before maybe things are stabilized, and then you get larger quantities coming in and a lot more people get the chance to enjoy the fruits of your labor. In other words, in the case of, let's say, the Switch is very limited in quantities right now, maybe 10, 15 to a store. But as time goes on, that Switch will come in larger quantities once things are stabilized. And you might say, well, why is this happening? Why isn't the Switch always there when you need one? It's real simple. It's because, like I said, with the NES Classic, Nintendo realizes there might be some scalpers out there that will buy up all the quantities of the Switches, and instead of selling them for, like, let's say $2.69 a pop at regular price like they're being sold in retail stores or online, or maybe for $3.49 for a bundle pack or whatever, they'll sell them for a lot more. They'll sell them for like $500 to $600 to $700 at least, knowing people might be desperate enough to pay that even though they shouldn't. Now, the way this relates to the topic at hand, the Funko vinyl figures of MLP FIM, it's real simple. It's real simple. Those are not. Those are kind of in the same category, but they're not that big of a deal. There have been several YouTube videos that people have posted where they have bought box loads of some of the same Funko vinyl figure of a My Little Pony character. All because they want to get that one ultra rare figure, and then they figured, well, I can give some of these away to friends and family, and I can also sell some of these at either regular price at the regular price I bought them for a lot less than I bought them for, or maybe a little bit higher than I bought them for, and I could do what I want. And you think, and everybody's happy. Everybody gets at least, the copy of it, or at least gets their own figure out of this. And that's totally cool, because here's the thing. Yes, I understand Funko has, in their wisdom, infinite wisdom, has discontinued the My Little Pony Funko line. I get that. But there is a demand to bring, but here's the thing, there is a demand to bring that back. People are going and doing petitions demanding, or asking, not demanding, but asking Funko to redistribute these figures, to restart the distributing line of the My Little Pony Funko figures, because there's a lot more characters that they can do Funko vinyl figures of, especially with the movie coming out. Now, with that said, here's the thing. When the Funko vinyl figures came out, they came out in shipments. They came out in series, as we all know. Certain series would have certain characters. Certain series of waves would have certain characters in them. One of those waves and series of the Funko vinyl figures had Princess Luna and Princess Celestia. Now, here's what's crazy about that. Yes, these got sold. Yes, there was a lot of copies of these. They got sold just like everybody else. The bigger difference is they cost a lot more, probably, than the regular Funko vinyl figure. They did. They probably cost about maybe $20, $30 at most. Why? Because they were, of course, the princesses, the guardians of the sun and moon. Guardians of night and day, day and night, if you will. So, of course they would probably be priced at a lot more. There's no doubt about that. But here's the thing. Anytime there's another wave of something that comes out, in figures, cards, whatever, you're always going to get you're going to get new figures, but at the same time, you also get figures redistributed that people want to see, or people will still want to get their hands on, but never had the chance the first time they came out. So with the new wave of figures, you also get a redistributing of figures from the last couple of waves. With My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, apparently you didn't get that with, apparently Funko didn't do that, I guess. Maybe I'm wrong, but Funko didn't do that with Celestia or Luna. They did it with Cadence, they did it with Twilight, but they didn't do it with Celestia and Luna. And why? Because Celestia and Luna are like, well, I'll give you an idea. If I can pull it out. If I can find it. Hold on for a sec. Here we go. It's like this. This here is the Dark Magician Girl, the Dragon Knight card. I got this when I still lived in Patterson. Okay? This I got on Amazon, and that went for about 32 bucks. Actually, 38 bucks for this card. And I had the money and I got it. And I had the money at the time, so I decided to get it. Here's the thing. A card like this normally should fetch about maybe 5 bucks at most. $5 to $10 at most. But because it's an ultra rare card, and it's an ultra rare fusion card, in fact I think it even says that, I can't really see that. Yeah, basically that's what it is. Because it's an ultra rare card, people know it's gonna, and you don't really see it commonly in stores or in packs and all that. They know people are gonna want to get it, and they know that since it exists, they're gonna want to get it, and they'll pay any kind of price because there may be only a few in stock. There may be only a few in quantity. You know what I'm saying? There may be only a few in quantity, and they realize people are gonna want the card. They're gonna want that. People are gonna want that card. There we go. But like I say, they realize people are gonna want the card, so that's why they sold it for maybe $23 for about, what was it, $33 to $28 to $33 more. That's why they sold it, because it's ultra rare. You don't see it that much. Despite maybe all the quantities that are out there, it was a very limited quantity because you don't see this that much. You saw this fusion what? Once or twice in the show, and that was it? That's why it's ultra rare, because you never see it again. You might say, well, we see Luna and Celestia more times than that. Yeah, you see them more times than that in the show, but you don't see them in every episode. If you take a look at all the episodes in between all 7 seasons so far, not many of them are very Celestia Luna heavy, which makes them in a sense very rare. So when you see these kind of figures come out in waves, in a wave or something like that, and there's a lot being sold, sometimes that one shipment might be the only shipment that they come in. You don't see them again. Which is why, you know, the people that buy them will probably ask for a pretty penny, because they know they could be rare. Another reason too is they realize maybe a company like Funko, pretty much like they announced, and I mentioned, probably won't continue the line anymore. And they realize, well, if we buy this many and we know people are going to want them, we could either do one or two things. We can either sell them at the price that we bought them for, still make a profit, maybe not as much, or we could sell them for a little bit more, knowing they're going to be very ultra rare, super rare collector items that people are going to want. It's like I'm looking at my Fortress Maximus Titan's Return Transformer and my Metroplex Titan's Return Transformer. Okay? I look at those two. Alright? And here's the thing about them. Here's the thing. I look at both those figures. And yes, they cost about, on average for me, for about $125 to $130 at most. That's a lot cheaper than what Metroplex went for originally when the original G1 version came out 30 years ago. Yeah, 30 years ago, the original G1 version of Fortress Maximus went for about $300. But anyway, that's a lot cheaper. However, if these were ultra rare, there is no doubt people would buy them up and sell them for more than what, let's say, the G1 version of Fortress Maximus was for. they'd sell them for about that, maybe more so. Why? Because they're ultra rare. And they know people would want to get their hands on them. They know that. But these are not ultra rare. These are still out there at regular price. People still can purchase them. Regular price, no doubt, no problem. But if they were like, let's say this card, they would do that. They would scalp. They would sell them at astronomical prices, in which I would admit is not a good thing. The same could be said for the NES Classic. The reason scalpers bought that up is because they realized, hey, these are probably not going to be around forever. People are going to want them. Let's make a pretty penny off it. And I admit that is wrong. Because here's the thing. The difference between these, between something like this, and even the Fortress Maximus and Metroplex Titan Returns, is there may be limited quantities, but they're always going to get distributed in some way. There's always going to be more out there. There's always going to be more out there, and there's always going to be distributing of them. Doesn't matter if they're not distributed for quite some time, or manufactured and distributed for quite some time, there's always going to be a demand. Just like this, there's always going to be a demand. But it's not limited. Nintendo pretty much came out and said, hey, the NES Classic ain't going to be out forever. It's only going to be for a limited time. When Funko did the My Little Pony figures, when they did these, they didn't say they were for a limited time. They didn't say that. They basically said, when these came out, they basically said, hey, there's going to be more to come. More is on the way. Now that they've decided to discontinue them, that's why some of these things are going up. Because once a lot of these figures are once some of the final Funko vinyl figures are distributed and released, that's it. No more. Despite the fact that fans are petitioning them to keep continuing, especially with the movie coming out. Like I said, especially with the movie coming out, they are basically saying, Funko is basically saying that after we distribute the last remaining remnants of it, of the My Little Pony Funko vinyls, that's it. And that's why, like I said, some of these are asking for a pretty penny. Maybe not as bad as, maybe not as much as people would think, like with, Applejack and maybe Daring Do and Rainbow Dash and all that. They may not be asking for a pretty penny as much as, let's say, the Celestia and Luna are, but still they are going a little bit high. And again, the reason being is because they're being discontinued. Now you might say, well, Nintendo's discontinuing the NES Classic. Yes, they are. But they did say, and this is true, it wasn't going to be a forever thing. It was mostly seasonal, or whatever it was. It wasn't going to be forever. It wasn't going to be forever. The only thing Nintendo didn't take into account was scalpers. They didn't expect scalpers to come out and say, hey, let's buy all the quantity up here and sell them for a pretty price. They didn't count on that. They should have, but they didn't. Like I said, they should have, but they didn't. And the thing with Funko is, even if, and the thing with Funko is, a lot of these were sold online, not just in store, but online. One of the people, I think his name is Aquatic, here on YouTube, bought 2 box loads. One is a box load of Celestias, one is a box load of Lunas. And he got them from HotTopic.com, from Hot Topic. Now, Hot Topic could have limited his purchasing, but they didn't. Why? Because they had an unlimited supply. I mean, well, it was limited, but they had enough of a supply. They didn't have to worry about it, because they knew all they'd have to do is order more Funko